This is a big one. Many things about how SPT works have changed with this update to version 3.10. We're now using EFT version 0.15.5.1, meaning we get a lot of the new features that many SPT users have been waiting for. Things like the new factory map, zombies, bipods and tripwires, the new boss, and adjusted mechanics are ready to play at long last. It's a lot to take in though, and if you don't want to be surprised in the heat of the moment, I suggest you find the 3.10 change notes linked in the description of this video and read them thoroughly to understand just what you're in for. Live EFT players will already know how the game has changed, but may not know how SPT has included and even adapted those changes to work for our purposes. If you'd like to discuss the update, the Club StarVox Discord server is a great place to start. Always be sure to get any SPT files from the actual SPT hub site and the latest official updates from the SPT pub Discord server. Sharing files between users and sending legacy versions of SPT itself is prohibited and can't be supported by the official developers or checked for malicious software. As with any online interaction, use caution and verify file sources to ensure that you are safely using the correct methods to enjoy SPT. Furthermore, remember that old versions of SPT are no longer hosted online after an update has been released, so maintain your own backups if you don't want to lose a stable installation or your favorite mods. Now, let's take a look at those change notes. Firstly, Team SPT states that they were initially waiting for Tarkov's Unity update, which has now been delayed until early next year for all users, so version 3.10 was released without it. From what I understand, testers of the live game have gotten some preview of this update, but I don't know much about that, and it certainly hasn't affected us in the single-player realm. It can be safely assumed that we'll get another major update when Battlestate does actually push that new version of the game engine, which is exciting and could be great for performance in-game. For now, just know that SPT 3.10 does not have this Unity update and won't until sometime next year, hopefully in the first or second quarter. SPT now uses Tarkov's PvE system instead of the old PvP one, which drastically changes how the game handles the start and end of a raid. This should come with several benefits and promote further optimization going forward now that SPT no longer needs to turn a fake live raid into what was essentially already offline PvE. There isn't much information about this yet, and I'm sure we'll come into more of that the next few weeks. It's all fancy developer stuff anyway. The zombies, we've got them. They're currently restricted only to the labs map and will only appear for the Halloween event by default, so they won't appear anywhere else or at any other time without mods. I know a lot of users were excited to get Zeds in SPT, so now's your time to gear up and try to survive the terror group building during spooky season. There's already at least one mod to change the zombie rules a bit, and I'm sure we can look forward to more as time goes on. If you'd like to activate the Halloween event at any time, send the code VERYSPOOKY to the SPT friend or use any mods that do the same thing and you'll be fighting the undead right away. Team SPT tells us that this version of Tarkov has a severe memory leak capable of sending RAM usage through the roof in no time at all, but they've implemented a temporary fix to keep it under control for now. There's an in-raid RAM cleanup tool that runs anytime the player opens an inventory screen. It takes the same length of time that opening the screen does and should suit most users until more work is done. This problem is present in the live game as well, but it's not so bad in the PvE mode when fewer bots spawn. We'll definitely be hearing more about this in the near future. We've been advised that the amount of code running when a bot dies is enough to cause stutters for just about any system, and there's very little to be done about it. Even the mightiest CPUs can struggle with this right now, and it'll just take more time and development to work out, so don't get discouraged if you experience stutters in raids. We all are. The winter season has been moved back and shortened because Battlestate has yet to fix the clipping snow that shows up indoors. Some of us had already modified our weather control files to do this after becoming annoyed with how the season looks and behaves, but now it's been done for you by default. Maybe we'll see something more about this in the future, but I'm sure it will depend largely on Battlestate deploying a fix or overhaul of some kind. If I hear anything, I'll let you know. Because of the numerous changes between 3.98 and 3.10, no profiles using mods can be migrated without corruption, so only the unmodded can take advantage of the included migration system. It's clear that most SPT users install mods, so this likely applies to only a small minority of vanilla players. Modded 3.9.8 profiles simply won't handle the migration and will clash with the updated infrastructure, so don't even try it. Regardless of progress, it's always best to start a new installation with a fresh profile to make use of all the added features and mechanics, and also to prevent catastrophic failures. Map-to-map transitions are now native to SPT, giving players the ability to travel between maps using certain extraction points without mods. These transitions take longer than typical extractions, requiring PMCs to remain safe in one spot for around 19 seconds. Mods like Traveler and Path to Tarkov first introduced many to this concept by making the game feel more open world than ever before, somewhat reminiscent of the Stalker games, bringing what seemed like a much-needed feature to gameplay in the Norvinsk region. I have yet to try this new transition system for myself and look forward to learning more about about it and how it's used in SPT. Mortar strikes have been added, but are disabled by default and can be reactivated with mods, though I don't think I've seen any released for this purpose just yet. The new factory map is also finally available in 3.10, something we've all been looking forward to for some time. Numerous changes to in-game sounds and balancing, new quests, weapons and equipment, and the new boss Partisan have been added to SPT from EFT 0.15, some of which have not been received very well by players of the live game. I'll sometimes get comments about how the audio is terrible now and that players wish the old system would come back, but I'll have to make that decision for myself after spending some time in 3.10. For information on how balance has changed, you should refer to the live game's own patch notes for 0.15. If anything seems to have changed about them for SPT, I'm sure that we'll hear more about it in the coming weeks, but I haven't seen much yet. Of course, tripwire mines and bipods with the ability to rest weapons against surfaces are among the equipment additions for 3.10. I myself am only familiar with the weapon mounting feature in the SPT Realism mod, and am very curious to see how bipods and weapon resting work natively in this new version. As far as the tripwires go, I'm not hugely excited for them, and tend to feel that they're less than immersive in Tarkov raid scenarios, but I'll be sure to review them with an open mind. The new guns include the M60, AA-12, and Desert Eagle as native additions and should work without issue. The Hideout gets the new equipment rack and Cultist Circle, both with the same functions seen in live EFT for those who like to make extensive use of the player base mechanics. The flea market now uses a tiered system for player access that is apparently still being worked on, and we should learn more about that as time goes on. This feature has been present in SPT mods for some time, and I think it'll work the same way with 3.10. And it is now possible to pin and lock items in the player stash to prevent them from moving or being discarded by accident while sorting without the aid of a mod, something that I figured should have been part of the game since the very beginning. The 3.10 change notes include a long list of additional changes to SPT that many players may find either minute or extraneous, but you do well to read through them quickly before getting started with a new installation. We often get questions about SPT that would already be answered by perusing a particular version's documentation, so arm yourself with knowledge and avoid the typical pitfalls. Also, keep in mind that new versions of SPT tend to receive patches and updates pretty quickly in the first few weeks after release, as the developers address bugs and fix problems. As always, keep an eye on the file base and the SPT Pub Discord server in the coming days to remain informed and properly updated. We've heard that Realism mod likely won't be updated for 3.10 until early next year, which means that I won't be leaning too heavily into this version for my own purposes until it does release. Most mod developers are already hard at work to bring their projects into 3.10, with many mods already showing up just in the first week alone, so no need to worry about going a long time without your favorite SPT additions. If you're still enjoying a previous version, just keep playing it for as long as you like and move into the current one when most or all of your list is ready to go. Don't forget to keep backups and archive your own SPT files in case they disappear from the file base for one reason or another. Old versions of SPT are not hosted online and can't be acquired through any official or regulated sources, though older versions of mods are indeed still kept on the file base in most cases. The developers prohibit users from sharing files outside of the file base and between one another for the sake of cybersecurity, since unofficial sources are not always made open to the public or properly scanned for malware. Expect more videos from me to demonstrate and review the many new aspects of 3.10 in the next days and weeks as mods get updated and patches are added. Let me know what features you'd like to know more about in the comments. Are you already playing 3.10? Still waiting for your favorite mods to catch up? What's your favorite part of the new list of features? Stay tuned for more SPT information, find us in the Club StarVox Discord server, join the Club StarVox Patreon for even more content, and you'll hear back from me very soon. Thanks for watching.